Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, family.
Shabbat shalom.
Today we're going to kind of do a little something different. We're going to try to tag team, if not triple team, this half tour, as well as kind of integrate some of the little teaching that me and him came up with last night doing what we was bringing in Shabbat, which was pretty interesting. I would like to say, it was we got to the bottom of certain things that we felt that people should know about. Also certain aspects in life that we should probably apply to, or we should probably even think about. But yeah, do you want to volunteer to read, or?
Yeah, I'll read.
Okay, yeah. But we're gonna pick up. Well, the half Torah today will be Joshua 2.
Mm-hmm. Start from verse 1.
Yeah, we might as well go ahead and pick up the whole thing. I mean, I know it goes to I think verse 14, but
start from the beginning.
Go through the whole thing, and kind of like to pick up off of Torah today, because if you see, it deals also with Joshua and Caleb. Joshua and Caleb were two major judges among Israel. Among Moshe's 70 judges, and they were sent. They were supposed to be going out. They were supposed to send 2 spies to go out into Canaan to ensure what Moshe was preaching about this land of milk and honey was legit. So, but we're gonna, as we learned in Torah earlier today, so we can pick up.
Okay. Yoshua 2, chapter 2, verse 1. And Yoshua, son of Nun, sent out Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, "Go view the land, even Jericho." And they went, and came into the harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told by the king of Jericho, saying, "Behold, there came in and hither of the night of the children of Israel to search out the country." And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, "Bring forth the men, that they are come to thee, which are entered thy house, for they come to search out the country." And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and thus there came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whither the men went out, I wot not. Pursued after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them between the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon her roof. And the men pursued after them to the way of Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut up the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up to them upon the roof, and she said unto the men, "I know that the Most High have given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Most High dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when ye came out of Mitzrayim, and what ye did unto the 2 kings of the Amorites, and were of the other side of Jordan, son of Og, who ye utterly destroyed."
So hold on 1 second. So this woman Rahab, right? So she's a prostitute, but and she's actually helping out these 2 spies, and she's actually in the midst of that, she's telling them all of these things that she's heard about these Israelites. So what would you say that she's doing in this particular part of the reading that we're doing?
I would say that she's storing them away. She's helping them to spy out the land, because she already knew that the Most High was upon them and with them, and they were just coming to do what they were sent to do.
Okay, so basically, when we're looking at this, we can come to some sort of conclusion that that she has some sort of belief. She has some sort of she has some sort of vested interest in what these gentlemen are doing. She's actually putting her life on the line to hide these guys. And but actually, what the word I was looking for is that she's actually showing faith.
Right.
She's showing faith by putting herself in jeopardy to hide these men, but she's actually going to be rewarded for her great faith by helping these men do the mission that the Most High wants them to do. Go ahead, brother. Finish reading where you pick up where you start.
You say 11.
11, right. As soon as we heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you, for the Most High, your Elohim, He is Elohim in the heavens above and in earth beneath. Now therefore I pray you, swear unto me by the Most High, since I have showed you kindness, that ye will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token, and that ye will save alive my father, my mother, my brethren, my sisters, and all that I have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answered her, our life for yours, if ye utter this our business, and it shall be when the Most High have given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, get you into the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers be returned, and afterward may ye go on your way.
All right. So she actually, she's really putting it on the line. So she's even letting them know that you need to get into the mountains and wait a few days. Let the people that are looking for you actually come back. Then it will be safe for you to pass through and get back to where you need to be. But she also set something up for herself and her family, because she understood that there was getting ready to be a true passing of the guards. So she put some bargaining tools out there to make sure that her family would be safe, as her faith was showed by her trying to save these 2 spies.
She gave him an ultimatum.
Gave them an ultimatum, and the agreement was it was a righteous agreement to the spies, because they said we will spare you as long as you don't tell our business. We're gonna deal with you properly after the Most High has given us this land. And that's just a beautiful thing. Sometimes when people talk, I'm sure that all of us have had situations where somebody has promised you something. And sometimes those promises, they get so, you can almost feel them, and you get to a point where you're actually expecting something from, whatever this individual told you. So, and then sometimes that expectation can get so high that when it doesn't happen, it'll just turn into great disappointment.
Right.
But these men, the faith that she was showing, and the resolve, she knew that whatever bargain that she made righteously with these gentlemen, it was going to come to pass, and that her and her family would be safe. So let's read on. And
let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Let me ask y'all a question. So, do you think that she had faith in the Most High also, because she kept saying about the Most High? She knew that the Most High was with them and the Most High sent them. So, could you say that her faith was also leaving the gods of her people that they worship, and really believing in the Most High that was with these
I really
spies?
believe that she even heard stories about, because remember, like the Israelites are from that land as well,
right?
So they knew them when they was coming out, when they was leaving the land. They knew. So she knew that their return was going to result into there's going to be a new kingdom set up, etc. So the kingdom that was promised to Abraham's seed. Because I'm sure she heard stories of like Sodom and Gomorrah, and how Abraham was with Sodom and Gomorrah, as well as hearing about what happened in Egypt. So that you hear all these Israelites that's coming now. She pretty much sees that, okay, well, yeah, judgment's going to be coming onto these group of people. Spare me. And as we see, we're going to see kind of like how the exact same judgment plays off. It's a similar judgment. And it's a similar grace or similar type mercies given to her and her family that was also given into Egypt. You know, so it was when this Deuteronomy 18:18, the one where there's a prophet unto like Moses that's supposed to be coming. We can clearly see from here, you know, and we will see from here that it's the exact same similarity set up. You know, a lot of people was expecting, you know, with the Israelites when they knew that there was supposed to be a person who was coming, supposed to be a deliverer. When that happens, you know, it's supposed to get ready to leave. You know, get ready to let the Most High action takes place upon this land.
Right.
With Rahab, she noticed that the return of Israel, or the return of this specific savior or redeemer, or in that sense, you want to make Israel in the sense of a son or a redeemer son or anything like that. You know, she knows that the return of Israelites and stuff like that would mean that it was going to be a whole change into society as far as where she's from and everything. So, and the spies' presence was just a sign of it. So they was, you know, this is pretty much a sign of that. So you work to you.
Well, and to add with that, I mean, verse 9, I mean, it's just so beautiful because she's actually reverencing the name of the Most High. Now, these people weren't dealing with Yah, because when you go down, verse 11, it says, when we heard this, our hearts failed us. And now no one has any courage left to resist you, since Yah, your Elohim, is Elohim of both heaven above and earth beneath. So she is recognizing now that our hearts have failed us. We know that this is the true El here. This is the true Elohim, right? So she's making provisions. I've heard what happened at the Sea of Reeds. I heard what you did with the Amorite kings. I mean, listen, if she's not showing that, you know what, maybe our ways aren't right. She's literally trying to separate herself from her people.
Exactly.
And it's real smooth when you just go through the scriptures and actually just take some time to digest exactly what's going on here. Go ahead and read out.
And that will save alive my father, my brother, my sisters, and all that they have delivered our lives from death. And the men answered her, our lives for your lives is ye utter not this business. And it shall be when the Most High Yah have given us the land that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the wall, the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, get you into the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourself there 3 days until the pursuers have returned, and after may ye go on your way. And the men said to her, we will be blameless of this thine oath which thou hast made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, that thou shalt bind a line of scarlet thread in the window which thou didst let us down by. And thou shalt bring thy father and thy mother and thy brethren and all thy father's household home unto thee. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out the doors of thy house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with thee in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand comes upon him.
Okay, time. Go ahead. As we see, this sounds like very similar to the Passover. Yeah, when instead of paying the blood of the lamb or something like that upon your doorpost, they hung the scarlet, exact same color. But this was also signified because Israel was going to come through Jericho and the other cities like the angel of death. Very similar. So he was pretty much saying that to ensure that, you know, whoever is in your households, within the household, within that where that scarlet scarf is hung at, no harm is going to be done to them. But tell them not to go on the outside of this household. The exact same thing was done with the plague in the sense of Egypt. They had to stay. They had to be within their household, you know, or that firstborn was going to be killed. If they wandered outside, then, you know, that blood didn't cover you. That blood was not on their hands or on Moses' hands, as far as leading you into a wrong way or a wrong direction, which brought the angel of death. So you have to, you know, I mean, that still goes on to show you that exact same thing as Moses happened, the exact same thing with Yahshua, with Yahushua. So further, go ahead. You at 20.
20, right? And if thou utter this our business, then we will be quit of thine oath, which thou hast made us swear by. And she said, according unto your words, so be it. And she sent them away. And they departed, and a bound of scarlet line in the window. And they went and came unto the mountain, and abode there 3 days until the pursuers were turned. And the pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the two men returned and descended from the mountain, and passed over, and came unto Yehoshua the son of Nun, and told him all these things that befell him. And they said unto Yehoshua, truly the Most High Yah have delivered into our hands all the lands, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us.
Okay, time. So as we see, these spies wasn't only just sent to scope out the land, but they was also supposed to bring back a report, as we was talking about outside. They was also supposed to bring back a report. This report was actually to actually boost the heads of the Israelites, in a sense of, well, yeah, you got these people all in this other land who haven't seen you in 4,000 years, and quote unquote, and stuff like that, and they still fearing you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, you tell me that, okay, well, yeah, we finna go onto this land, or we finna go to somebody's house, and then somebody comes and tells me, everybody in this whole house is straightening up, cleaning up for you, making sure everything's in order and stuff like that. What did you do to these people? What kind of fear do you have installed into these people where, they sit here straightening up, doing all kinds of, like, they pretty much laying out a red carpet for you. It's like, because they hear that you're coming. They know what follows behind you, either life or death. You know what I'm saying? These people are finna come into this wilderness. We hear the saying, if you bless these people, you're gonna be blessed, but if you curse these people, you're gonna be cursed. So you like, since Abraham, you've been hearing about these group of people that have a certain type of blessing or curse upon them, or their hands in the Most High has them in His hands, in the sense where, like, nations are trying to tell them to leave, or trying to kick them out, or nations are pretty much opening up laying out the red carpet for them. And not only that, have a certain type of fear about them, or have a certain type of reverence about them. And if you can relate all the way up to these times and these days, I mean, not only that, like, they really fear us waking up. Especially, just imagine, like, all of us waking up, and not only that, the whole world, waking up to the fact of who the children of Israel is, who the children of God is, in that sense. It's a lot of repercussions that people are going to have to answer for. So, and not only that, you might have people out there that's like your Rahaba and stuff like that are like, well, look, do this, and do this, and be out there helping you out and stuff like that. We had that back in the slave days. You had some people who actually recognized who we were and stuff like that. And not only that, who was humble enough to actually help lead us, pretty much to our freedom, during the Underground Railroad and other ways of slaves used to escape and stuff like that. So, the Most High has His hands not only in us, but actually allow other nations to actually see us for who we actually are, and not what the world shows us as. But,
Let me ask you one question.
Go ahead.
So, being what you just said, building off of what you just said, do you think personally that this is why America's trying to keep us here? And because they know that it's a blessing upon us, even with the cursing, it's like double. So they know that they're being blessed here by us being here. So do you think personally that that's why they're...
Of course. I mean, like Elder Prince said earlier today, look what we done. We have been, over 75% of their inventions that they using still today. You know what I'm saying? We are the entertainment. We got music on lock. We have sports down pat. Like, majority of the medicines, natural herbs and stuff like that, that's being produced and stuff like that, is owned by us. Whenever we start getting stuff started like this, like our black stock market, or Black Wall Street, the Black Hollywood, out in off in Brooklyn and stuff like that, with Apollo and stuff like that, and in Tulsa, Tuskegee and different things like for instance like in Tuskegee with the Tuskegee Airmen and blacks in wars and stuff like that, we was pretty dominant. So you know like they need us in a way in a sense of so the world can recognize America, because you know like especially with the Olympic Games coming up now, half the athletes who running for America is African American. You know, especially in the major sports. You know, we on our way to getting swimming. I mean, you know, so like as such an entertainer said, you know, as soon as they learn how to heat the pools, we gonna be up in there. But you know, we take it over certain sports, so they know that in order for America to also be recognized, America is being recognized in a lot of different ways and stuff like that because of the black man, or just not even just the black man, just the children of Israel, period. But this thing about if we all leaving aside to go back to, you know, I guess Africa or wherever we decide to go or stuff like that, we're gonna do the exact same thing for that nation. You know, so I mean, when you say like, are they trying to keep us here? I mean, I would say that they are trying to keep us here just in case, you know, we do something else that they can't do and they want to take claim for it and stuff like that. And it's really not just America. It's Esau. It's that Esau spirit in mind. That Esau spirit in mind. I want to say. Oh, say again. Who is keeping us here? That's a good question.
Well,
that's a good question.
I wanted to answer that question, the first question, and I'll get to you too. But that first question, I wanted to answer it just from Torah. When we go to Deuteronomy 28, and we look at the I think the 43rd verse, and it's telling us that the foreigners living with you will rise higher and higher at your expense, right? So, and then while you yourself are going to be going lower and lower, you will be subject to them, and not they to you. They will be the ones at the head, and you will be at the tail. So when we look at this, and then when you go down, you know, the next group of verses tell you about the curses will befall you and overtake you till you are destroyed. So part of what's keeping us here too is our destroyed mindset. We're destroyed, and part of America's thing is like Nasi was talking about, was the deceptive beauty. We think that America is offering us beauty, and a lot of us, we do not want to break away from this. All the things that we probably take for granted here, you know, they're humongous privileges in other countries. But the thing is, what happens in America is we have all of this polluted air. We got our vehicles. We're doing all of this stuff, trying to have this easy life. But what it's doing is polluting your air around you. I mean, people don't even walk in the grocery stores anymore. I mean, we are just that destroyed. We want to ride buggies in the grocery store. We don't care about anything really that's going to really sustain us and keep us in a way, because even here it tells us too. It says verse 27. It says Yah will strike you down with Egyptian ulcers, with swellings of the groin, with scurvy, and the itch for which you will find no cure. Yah will strike you down with madness, blindness, distraction of mind. See, all of this is what's keeping us here, until you grope your way at noon like a blind man groping in the dark, and your steps will lead you nowhere. And so and it's funny because even when anything happens, we want to march, we want to go protest and march. Marching is for war. Marching is not to go and y'all get together and then you go and ask somebody to supplicate for you. That's for war. So the nations are really laughing. It looks kind of funny when y'all out there marching and hoping that these police that are killing us will put themselves in jail, and it's not going to happen because and the reason why you're thinking it's going to happen, because it just told you you're going to have madness. You're gonna be stricken with madness, blindness, distraction of mind. These are the things that are keeping us here. and you don't want to leave because, you know, it's like that the Stockholm syndrome, is that what they call it?
Stockholm.
It's like when you start to love your oppressor.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You start the dude that's got a chain on your neck, right? He's slapping you in your face. He's eating your food that you planted.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking your children. He's taking your wife, and you find a way in your heart to still love this dude. So that, you know, in my opinion, that's why when it talks about coming out of her, I mean, seriously, we should really. A lot of times we come into the Sabbath, but and people seem so joyous, but it should be like we should be in here crying, because I mean we ain't in no state of affairs where you know, where we should be out here drinking and slaughtering bulls and eating meat like Isaiah 22:12 talking about when he said, I told you to cut your hair and to mourn, but instead there's, you know, you slaughtering oxen and you drinking, and you know, we should be really in mourning till the Most High pull us up out of this. But somehow people finding a way to smile, and they dancing and they happy and giggly and jolly, and you know, sometimes I don't even know what you smiling about. Sometimes I smile because somebody else is smiling, but for real, I mean, it's a lot more serious than that. And really, the brothers gonna have to soldier up a little more. I think men are just a little too effeminate right now. So, and then all of this is keeping us. All of this is part of keeping us here. The women are stronger than the men, and you know some of that's systematic. But I think a lot of the brothers are starting to give up and start to I'm just gonna relinquish the power to the woman. Wow. And remember, Adam got in trouble for that. You think it's just the apple, but he said, the Most High said, because you have hearkened to her voice and you ate. So, part of our nation coming back up, the brothers gonna have to soldier up a lot more, you know. And we gonna have to stop being scared to tell people stuff. You know, sometimes you might have to tell your woman, you need to be quiet, and you can't. And as a man, you have to do that. I mean, you tell people you can't judge, but if you go to court, you don't tell the judge, you can't judge me. You know, whatever he say or what she say, you gonna do. And we have to start building that hierarchy back to know that, you know, certain members of certain parts of our society gonna have to be heads. Some of us are gonna have to be a little more subservient, and we can't have the kids just doing what they want to do. You know. That's part of it too, because sometimes I think the King James talks about in Isaiah that, you know, children are oppressors and women rule over them. Yeah. And if you think about it, that is crazy, because me personally, I have a situation where, you know, my daughter doesn't live with me, and so she's able to manipulate the situation sometimes between me and her mother. Right. And when every time I read that, I'm like, man. It's like she's oppressing me, and it's like her mama's pushing the buttons, like telling her what to do. You know what I mean? Or even allowing her to manipulate certain things. And I tell her like she's a child. You come at me like I'm the father. Don't come at me like, you know, I'm the kid too. She's my child and she's your child. Okay. You need to come at me like we're adults here. But you know, everything is so out of order in this place. And it's time to come out of her. We like everything about this spot, man. I mean, we watch their sports. I don't deal with none of their stuff, none of it. I do work and make a little bit of it, but I don't try to make the money because because I want to be rich. I'm just doing it to keep things on an even continuum. But I hate their money. I hate it. I don't like to look at it. Them yay fights, they make my skin crawl, because brothers is killing each other for these yay fights. Right. These dead dudes that we get when we make a check and get paid. Mm-hmm. We let the value of that money be higher than me and you. We let that go on, and we can't. We got to really look at this and say, hey, I make the money. The money don't make me.
Exactly.
Right? The stuff is tainted. What we really supposed to be using that money for is to get your friends. You know? You use that money to get your friends up. So then when something happens with you, hopefully one of your people will remember that you did something for them.
Exactly.
But we get the little money and be over here. And it's their stuff. That's why in the New Testament when they asked Yahushua, like, does he pay the tax? And he said, well, quickly give me a denarii. Whose image is on it?
Right.
They said Caesar. He said, well, pay Caesar what's his and give the Most High what's his. And I love that, because when we look at this money that we got valued up so high, look at the image on it. That ain't representing you. This weekend is going to be Independence Day, but guess what? You was still in them fields in 1776. I guarantee you wasn't drinking no tea.
And you was in the front line of the Independence War too. They said, okay, good job. Get back to work. We're gonna celebrate. You know, that's how it is. You know, every single war is like that. You know, like they pitch you out there, and then but they take the credit for it. You know, and I mean, like, and also I want to add on to your answer. If you look at Jeremiah 17:4.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Jeremiah 17:4, and it says, even thyself shall I discontinue from thy heritage,
right?
And I will give thee, and that I have given thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land of which they have not known, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. So I mean, right here, I mean, it even says that we handed it over to the image, and I'm gonna give you, cause I want to get two allegories. That's what I want to give you two allegories. One comes from Michael Metz, and it's about. I mean, he made a real good speech about. I want to say house niggers and field niggers, if you want to say. I was using the language, but that's how he put it. That's how he put it, and it makes sense, because you have the field. I mean, you have the house. And the house slave, and he's like, anytime and speaking onto that syndrome that he was talking about, anytime that the master was sick, he would say, "Oh, master, we sick." So he made himself like as one with the master, and he said, "Oh, the master, if the house is on fire, oh, master, our house is on fire." So even though he's the one who's sitting here building the house and stuff like that, he still gives credit. He still gives everything due unto his master. Where you have the field slave and stuff like that, where he sees the house on fire, or he sees the master sick, and all he's thinking about is, oh, what, master's sick? That means he's finna die. I'm finna be free. Or if the house burns down, he's not gonna have no plantation. I'm going to be free. So Malcolm X then stands back and say, okay, well, since we all are technically slaves, what kind of, or still in this type of chain? What kind of slave are you? Are you a house slave? Or are you a field? Are you going to be excited if the master's house burns up, or are you going to feel sad and stuff like that if the master's house burns up? And it's all like a mind thing, or I want to say it's called brainwash. I know that's a conspiracy theorist term or something like that, but it makes sense. And when you kind of think of how brainwash works, it has to be over time. Brainwash can't happen overnight. But as you see, like we've been getting brainwashed and stuff like that. Like even though we like one of the strongest nations known on this earth, or the strongest group of people known on this earth, it took years for us to get programmed into a certain way where we have a certain view out on life, or we have a certain aspect on life and stuff like that. And they scientists have done experiments and stuff like that on monkeys. And where they had put like 4 monkeys into a cage, and they put a ladder inside the cage, and then they put a banana on top of the ladder, and a monkey would try to go up the ladder, and anytime the monkey went up the ladder, the scientists would take and spray the other monkeys that was on the ground with cold water, and every single time a monkey went up to go and get the fruit from the ladder, they'll spray the monkeys. So that over time, the monkeys got tired of it. So anytime a monkey went up the ladder, tried to go up the ladder, or came down off the ladder, they'll beat the monkey. So over time, every single monkey that attempted it Well, they stopped spraying the monkeys and everything, but over time, every time the monkeys would try to go up the ladder, they'll beat the monkey.
The other monkeys, right?
Yeah, they'll beat the monkey who try to go up the ladder.
Right.
So then after a while, they took one monkey, took him out, put another monkey who never got sprayed or nothing like that, put him into the cage. So this new monkey now tries to go up the ladder. When he tries to go up the ladder, the other monkeys come in and start beating him. This happens, so they start repeating the cycle every single day and stuff like that. Took another monkey, took him out. Took one of the original monkeys out who gotten sprayed, took him out, put a new monkey who did get sprayed. Every single time, the monkey would start beating him up. After a while, they got to a point where all 4 monkeys wasn't sprayed or never got sprayed, but they just knew if I go up that ladder, all these other monkeys are gonna try to stop me from going up there, or they're gonna beat me. But then you ask the monkey, why can't you go up the ladder? He can't tell you because he was not there to say that, oh, if you go up the ladder, we're gonna get sprayed with cold water. You know what I'm saying? That's just all a sign of brainwash and stuff like that, or all experiment about how brainwash works. Is that you don't even have to, as long as they keep you ignorant to the reason on why something don't need to be done, or why you don't need to be getting up to this certain point or anything like that, then the better they can be able to control you and stuff like that. And they can pick whatever they want to. They can pick, they can say, yeah, you're the children of Israel, but are you going to go after they go up and try to go up there? No, that's because if you're going to try to go up there, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to try to beat you, or they're going to try to spray. And it's kind of similarly set up. Or set up in a similar fashion with us. Anytime we had a famous leader that tried to go, what they do to him? They knocked him off. They assassinated him. Or we had a civil rights leader come up there. They try to knock him off. So now the other monkeys like Al Sharpton and Reverend Jesse Jackson, you see them fade back into the wilderness, and then fade back into the spotlight. Then next thing you know, they walking back out, and they a whole new image. They like Colt. Join up, they want to practice the unity speech, but it's mainly about conform, and that's that same type of brainwash of we spraying you with monkeys, so don't try to liberate or anything like that. Because in my mind, Malcolm X kind of had the right idea as far as we might need to be separated as a people, but not in the sense of by race, but in the sense of by culture, mindsets, and understandings of certain things, because you can't just mix certain groups of people, or you can't mix certain mindsets, or you can't mix certain understandings together. It just causes confusion, or it causes Babylon. You know what I'm saying? But when they was promoting the idea of separation, and not necessarily separation, but just giving us our own land, our own way to allowing us to prosper on our own and stuff like that, I believe that they sense what that can possibly do just from us, coming out of slavery or stuff like that, and being in the midst of the civil rights movement and everything like that, or in the Jim Crow laws, we still are somewhat able to even flourish around that. Imagine they gave us complete freedom. Imagine what we can do as well as that. So it's a mindset. I would say it's a mindset thing. And in the end of the day, it's a mindset thing. You have to know exactly what am I trying to say? You want to know exactly of what you want to have a good understanding of what you believe in, or what you understand, and everything else is going to follow behind that, in that sense.
Question?
Yes, ma'am.
So, is it mental or is it physical?
As far as leaving Babylon, or
from Earth, is that mental?
I was.
Or is that physical?
I would say that's mental. In the beginning, you can't really just leave and not have that physically, and not be in that mental state, or have that idea of have the idea of how to even deal with physically leaving her. I mean, it's gonna follow behind it in the sense of like, okay, well, if I change my lifestyle or if I change my mindset, actually, if I change my mindset, and start living in a certain way, your body will naturally start living that way. You know, in the sense of you, like if you stop eating pork or if you start eating meat or stuff like that, meat would then start smelling bad to you whenever you smell it cooking. Especially like, I mean, like I know I've cooked that. Well, I know like pork smells horrible to me when it's being cooked. Like especially like sausages or something like that. It smells bad. You'll get a lot of vegetarians who can smell, you know, like meat and it smells a certain way to them, or it smells pretty bad to them. Like seafood smells bad to them. You know what I'm saying? So once you live a certain mindset, or once you change your mindset, your heart is going to follow. Or whatever your heart is, everything else is going to follow.
It definitely has to be mental first. Like that's why I know it might not be popular, but I'm a Maccabee man. I love the book of Maccabees. I think actually I can always tell when a man ain't Maccabee, when you ain't got the Maccabees in you, because for real, you can't even really understand the Gentiles if you don't understand the Maccabees. So what you have to understand is that one of the things that they implemented when the Greeks came through, they came into Jerusalem and they started putting their Hellenistic ways and started imposing these cult type practices on the Hebrews, and they started doing things contrary to the law. And Jason, he was a high priest. He's a wicked Hebrew. And I mean, this is a son of Aaron. He had
something about them sons of Aaron.
He had a gymnasium built at the foot of the citadel.
Exactly, right in front of the temple.
Let me tell you something. And once that happened, because what he did, it tells you in I think it's 2 Maccabees 4:12. It tells you that he went and picked out the fittest youth, and he made them wear the petasus, which is, when you look the petasus up, it means a Greek hat. Right. And then if you take images of the Greek hat, it's any hat with a brim on it. So the baseball cap is considered petasus. Okay. It's Greek apparel. Okay, so he took the best, and that's exactly what's happening today. The Israelites were the people in them arenas back then, just like they are the same people in all the arenas now. And I tell you, really, we coming out of her, you got to leave their sports alone, because the priests were actually running out. They had a gong that they would hit. The priests, contrary to the law, once they had the oil on, they couldn't come out the temple. They was running out the temple with the oil and putting it on the floor of the gymnasium. And it tells you that right there in 2 Maccabees. And then towards the end of that chapter, it says that the people that they deemed the highest esteem proved to be the people that killed them. And then we deemed Hellenistic glories best of all. And it's the same thing today. When you out there cheering for your favorite football team or your favorite basketball team, those are Hellenistic glories. Y'all ain't in that. Because if you understand what Jerusalem looked like, we didn't have no room for no gymnasium. We wasn't going and doing naked activities, throwing discus naked, and that wasn't what we were doing. And if you think about it, even to this day, that's why they always had, and during that time, they talked about a lot of the Hebrews were having to hide their circumcision, doing stuff contrary to the law, not keeping Shabbat. So they just started implementing all of these things that's going to send us to hell. And then to this day, the certain glories that we get, and we still doing it. Now, if LeBron and them, because we actually supposed to be warriors. That's the part of the scriptures that talks to me the most. If our best Hebrews are in all the leagues.
Yeah, right.
They're being paid to sit out. They're in all the leagues. They, just like what Jason did, he went through, he picked out the fittest of the youth, and he made them wear the petasus. So that was just like wearing a varsity jacket.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we knew when you see the dudes with the brim hats on, you knew that these were the guys that Jason has picked out, and they're throwing javelin, they're running, they're racing each other. whatever the Greeks wanted them to do in them coliseums and arenas. If they had them in servitude, they might even let lions out on them. We was them gladiators. Don't ever forget that. And that's one of the reasons why, for real, I'm like, and it's gonna be hard because I was the greatest of the Saturday college football.
Ooh,
You couldn't get me to move.
What are you talking about?
Couldn't get me to move. And it wasn't until I started to understand that I'm these people and what my ancestors went through and how we are just now so easily giving it up. These people was fighting not to do it, not for this stuff not to happen to us. Now we just give it up. We just give it up. Brothers be like, man, did you watch the draft? Like, man, that was actually that's the slave block right there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
These brothers, when they get in these leagues, they are told that they can't date. They don't want them dating women with ethnic hairdos. They don't want them with the women with locks. And this is what they tell them: they can only go to certain places if they want to have any type of fun or any type of entertainment. They have a curriculum of places that people can go in every city that they're in.
Right.
And then they have people that make sure that you ain't in none of these other spots that's off the limits.
Right.
Okay, they are being controlled. They're puppets. Okay, and so really, our sons and daughters, we probably should be trying to take them by the hands and teach them their actual worth. You know, I think it's in First Chronicles, the 11th chapter. It talks about the men who was coming over to David, right?
Right.
And these guys that after Yah had already anointed him, it's talked about some of these people come from it, defecting over to Judah from Israel. And these men could shoot the bow with the left and right hand. They could take a sling and hit hair, and hit a hair. This is high skill level. These dudes were bad, right? But now we taking 6'5" dudes, 280 pounds, and we putting them in the league. They can't do nothing warlike. They can't, and we don't have no really understanding on how to even develop. And even if we do develop a nation, how are we gonna defend it, right? Because we've been so inundated with because a football dude will tell you he's a soldier. I've been there because I played football. And it's nothing like war. It ain't war. They tell you I'm a soldier. Kellen Winslow got in trouble for that. So maybe 7-8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago now. When he was in college. So it was probably like 2003 when they played Ohio State but he said something about him being a soldier. And at the time we was in that war with Afghanistan and Iraq. So a lot of people got upset about him saying that he was a soldier, but people actually think that when they play these little simulated, because it's you playing. That's why they say you play the game, because it's playing. It's not for real.
Right.
You know what I mean? So these dudes, they get out here and the coaches feed them this stuff, and they actually think they soldiers. They actually think that they going to war because they played a football game for 48 minutes. But, when war happens, people die.
Right.
All them dudes walk off the field after the game. Some of them shake hands. They playing. And some of the things that's going on in America is playing us. And we got to really come up out of it. I mean, there's so much other stuff. Their food. They want us to eat 3 times a day. Now, I just finished up a 41-day fast. 41 days and nights. And through that, I have had some revelation. And I find now, of course, it caused me to lose some weight because you having a string of caloric deficit days in a row like that, you should be losing. You probably are going to lose some weight. But I realized that because right now what I'm noticing is that I'm going to bed at a certain weight, then I'm waking up like 2 pounds less.
Right.
So what's going on is that I've got my metabolism so high up right now that because what happens is most of the time if we're eating so much, your body can't process all that at one time. So it starts to store stuff that it's not processing as
Weight.
fat, and it'll turn into excess weight. So when I went through this thing, I started to realize that we don't need to eat that much. If we don't have that much activity, most people aren't even working that hard to be eating those 3 times a day. And then the funny thing is, your Food and Drug Administration, in December 2015, they came out and said there was a direct link between eating flesh and cancer. Not like a curvy link, not like a avenue behind the alley. It said direct link. So when you go into a straight line, that's like what 180 degrees. That's the shortest path is a straight line. So you eating that flesh. It's a direct line to that non-alkaline body that's going to be tearing up on the inside because you can't leave his food alone. You want to eat his meat and drink his drink. We got to come when it talks about coming out of her.
It's on
Come
every
out
level.
of that. Come out of her. This is not no game no more. Because we seeing the not only America but the world is shaking their hand, is shaking its fist at the Most High. People got their hubris, and the hubris is just a word, like it just means like excessive pride. They got their hubris up so high, man. I mean, I asked this dude the other day, and I wasn't asking him because I thought that he was a great physical specimen. I'm asking him what he's doing because I want to do the opposite of what he's doing. You know what I mean? Dude was pregnant, man, and so I asked him what he was doing. But when I asked him, I didn't come off with like I was coming with something negative. I was just asking him, but he took it like it was almost like an endearing thing to him. Oh, I just walk every day and I do this and do this, and I'm sitting there thinking like, you must think you straight. A lot of people don't. I mean, the best of us have something that we can improve on. You know what I mean? We that's one of the things. So that's why when I say come out of her, we got to start doing some self-evaluations, because the scriptures will let you know. They'll tell you what we need to do, and then you can look and see if because it should make you feel a certain way. Yeah. If you keep coming in, keeping Shabbat, and say you keeping the laws and keeping the feast days, if you see something that's not lining up with how you acting in life, it should start to tear you up on your conscience, and you should start wanting to really make them changes. And when if y'all is really with you, it should be cold turkey. It shouldn't be none of this stuff where, I'm gonna just go ahead and eat these 2 packs of bacon. I got them in the refrigerator, so I spent my money on them.
Don't want them spoiled.
I don't want them spoiled, so I'm gonna go ahead and fry all this bacon up. But right there in Leviticus 11 and 7, it's telling you. You can't even touch the package. You can't even touch the package. You say you can't touch the carcass. So you shouldn't. Don't even go in there touching the package of the swine. Don't touch it to move something to get to something else. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Oh, Danielle had a question.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we want y'all to interact with.
Separate ourselves from America within our mindset, and so we don't have to leave America physically.
No.
Well,
you could. I mean, and it's kind of like if you kind of caught my spill about the Nazarite oath and what Nazarites did. I mean, they separate themselves. Not, I mean, though the city, you could still be separated and just live outside of the walls. All you need is just a place where you can just grow your food, or pretty much a place where you can just be self-sustained. So you can still be within that land, but you have a secluded, area or something like that. It's all just about a mindset. That you don't have the urge to go to a club, or you don't have the urge to eat McDonald's, or you don't have the urge to, do certain things that, the average citizen or the average, person would do. That's just called being separate, or separating yourself, period, from that. But then, yet you still living among, in that specific area, stuff like that. Because I mean, exactly, where can we go? We can't even go back to our homeland. So it's not like we can just up and. Yeah, I mean, and that's because they just have the wrong. I mean, either that. I mean, then again, I'm gonna have to ask them, where are we gonna go, man? Because it's not like I mean, yeah, we can go to Africa, But then, you know, Africa's we got to remember, they too has been brainwashed to think that, you know, Negroes and stuff like that have this certain image. You know, it's really no telling what the media over across seas are showing about us as well. You know what I'm saying? Only thing that we do is just, you know, be on social media and express ourselves like that as well. But, you know, there's really nowhere that we can possibly go where, you know, we won't get looked at strange, or we won't get the same treatment that we're getting here. You know, right now, America is pretty much the best. Go ahead. Okay. Right now, America is pretty much the best place for us right now, in the sense of, like, yeah, we're gonna be able to sustain the most, and we have the most freedom to express our minds and our culture and our stuff like that than anywhere else, because we can't really go to any, like, Saudi or even to Israel. You know, we'll be looked at as being mocked unless you, like you said, you from Vietnamese place. You know what I'm saying? But even then, you know, you're not considered Israel, but you're considered a convert. So, you know, you're still gonna get treated as a second-class citizen. So the best thing to do is just be wherever you at that time, just and isolate yourself from society as much as possible mentally. Everything else is gonna follow behind it. I mean, you can be living next door to a Gentile or live next door to a preacher, but you know how to keep yourself separated. You know, and that mindset of where you won't get caught up when you look outside of December 24th and you see your Christmas lights and stuff like that. Now you're getting tainted or something like that, because now you're like, oh, it's Christmas and stuff like that. I want this, I want that. I want that holiday and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Helem has something to read. So I guess he's gonna.
Before I read this, I do want to say that it's gonna be whatever the spirit of Yah puts on you. Okay, because it might sound okay for me to read this scripture and say, no, you don't go, but I do believe that Yah's putting the spirit on some brothers and sisters to get up out of here. So, and I haven't found anywhere where it would be a sin or a transgression or an iniquity to do any of those things as far as getting out of here. But Isaiah 43, and I start at verse 5, and I read this because when people try to just be on the flee doctrine, that by itself doesn't line up with this. So it says, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I shall bring your offspring from the east and gather you from the west." So it's knowing, just like Deuteronomy said, you know, I'm just going to take your sons and daughters, so we was going to be separated. Now he telling them, I'm going to get your offspring from the east and you from the west. Okay? Then he says, to the north, I shall say, give them up. And to the south, don't hold them back. Bring back my sons from far away, and my daughters from the remotest part of the earth. Everyone who bears my name, whom I have created for my glory, whom I have formed, whom I have made. So he's telling us basically that he gonna be telling people on the earth that they gotta let us go. And if we do deal with the that was Yeshayahu 43. I started at verse 5 but read through 7. Yeah, it's Isaiah. I just try, because when you go into the Hebrew, that's not the name. So
yeah,
that's why I wanted.
we went over there yesterday.
That's one of the parts of coming out of her. Yeah. Because if you call him Isaiah, you just took Yahoo out of it. And you know, the fake Jews, they running around with the names like the prophets had, like the prime minister of Israel right now, Benjamin Netanyahu. Yahoo. Yes, sister. I didn't hear.
The chapter.
Oh, it was Isaiah 43, 5 through 7. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, so should there, like, Israel congregation, should we be out there trying to teach towards them?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So why not?
That's a good question.
I think.
I mean, there's some actually that are out there, but I mean, like they actually, like for instance, Elder Prince. I mean, I'm sure he's out there all the time. We had Yahshua as well as Helem been talking about going out there. But you have camps that are out there that's actually, doing that. Though, a lot of those camps are doing it for the wrong reasons, in the sense of like they send out the wrong messages. So we have to be kind of I would say careful in the sense of like what type of image or in the sense of that we're trying to display or trying to portray, so we won't get confused with that. But we do. I mean, the only if anything, those brothers have the right idea as far as like being out there. Like I'm sure right now they're out there right now because they do that normally during Shabbats. They go out into major corners or major intersections and stuff like that and start teaching. Should we do that? Yeah, we should. But again, we got caught up into, okay, well, I'd rather have 9 to 5s and stuff like that. And I mean, not saying that nothing's wrong with that, because you need that as far as sustaining family and stuff like that. But that's, instead of it being just 10% of what Israel's doing, that's 99% of what Israel's doing, and it leaves that 1% that's out there actually sitting on the street corners during the week, while the city is actually at its peak hours or something like that, doing it. You won't get through fast enough. But I've noticed that now that just we don't really have to be out in the street like that, though it's good. But I noticed like you use like social media. We have social media as a real big outlet as well as far as it now, because as we can see, Israel is waking up at an alarming rate. And it's not just coming from just our street corner. We can't really knock off social media and stuff like that. I mean, there's ways to use social media is wrong, just like there's way to do a street preaching wrong. So it all comes down to, are you teaching truth? And then it goes to, okay, well, the people who you teaching truth to, are they willing to listen, or are you just yelling at them? Saying, are you just yelling and telling them that they ain't doing that? And then because of the fact that they're not paying attention to them, you then still mock them. That still turns away people. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we have, that's all fine and dandy, but it takes a lot. It takes the right mentality to actually go out there and actually teach like that.
Well, you actually do have to get out there, because Proverbs 1:20, it tells us that it says, wisdom cries aloud in the streets. She raises her voice in the public squares. Not in the church house. Exactly. It's in the street, right? And so she calls out at the street corners. She delivers her message at the city gates. So, but it is it's dangerous to get out there. But that's what I'm talking about, manning up. Brothers got to man up, and because you know what, the word ain't gonna get out there sitting at your house and debating with your boy on the phone. I
would have asked how many prophets taught from the temple. I mean, I'm still trying to think of one.
They all went out.
Exactly, and they went to the temple and was teaching on the outside of the temple. Most of it, especially like Jeremiah, was teaching them on the outskirts of the temple. Only person I could really think of that actually went through the temple was Ezekiel, and he was going through the temple to actually see what they were doing in the temple, and all the desolations and stuff like that was happening, and abomination that was happening within the temple. So he was still going to the temple to actually issue out judgment. Yahshua was another person, who taught from within inside the temple, but was speaking like, as far as like judging it, judging these people that y'all doing this wrong and stuff like that. It's not, I mean, it goes all the way back to Shiloh, all the way back to Shiloh to Eli's 2 sons. And Shiloh was the very first tabernacle set up, and to be permanently, I would say, set up within the land. And even in that temple, it was being profaned. So I really don't even think that, temples in the sense of it being like a stone structure or a house or something like that is actually for what the Most High planned in the period. He's dealing more with a mobile temple, kind of a temple that moves around, more like a temple that actually has a conscience and can respond and experience and can be in a different land, can go to and fro. Exactly. Go ahead, Miss. I'm not even seeing because of the light. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, response to a question, you could also just start in your small circle.
Exactly.
With your friends, with your family. If my girlfriend will ask me, we're going with so-and-so on Saturday or even after work. Well, no, I can't go because such and such. And, break it down to her. I had to tell my sister, she's supposedly in the Bible, but she's telling me that she had a quick trip or, whatever. Oh, my girlfriend, I would have to say, that's not what God wants us to do.
Exactly.
So you can start at those small things. And when they think that they know, but when you point little things out to them, right.
How you know that?
So you can start in your small circle, just with your girlfriend, and you'd be surprised. You tell one person, and that person tells somebody else, and they can just move like that.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at Yeshua, that's how he did his ministry. Like they had to claim that it was only 12, but it was over 5,000 people. He had 70 people who he was sending out to different cities. So he wasn't just popping up city to city. He had people who he read, who followed him and was with him from the beginning, and then they got to a certain stance and stuff like that, and then he would send them off, and then they would start preaching, pretty much what he was teaching, what he was talking about and stuff like that. So in the sense of, as she was saying, starting that little small circle, y'all come together and stuff like that, y'all put your minds together and go from there and stuff like that. That's so all of y'all are pretty much equally knowledgeable and wise and stuff like that. Y'all go out, y'all start your own, and that's how that wildfire starts spreading and stuff like that. It's not it, and then that's you turn around, you all come back together, and then you got one big group of people all believe in the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's good, yeah, like she was saying, it's good to pretty much start small as well and not really try to go for the huge number.
Right.
Ms. Mariel?
Amen. Anyway.
Nah, it still mean let it be so.
I just wanted to sort of agree with the fact that the movement or the leaving is a mental state, because I left, I moved with my husband to Haiti, and he has a business over there, but I left on the premises. I left a very good job on the premises that we need to get out of the United States, and of course you see I'm back.
Yeah.
Not because I was craving, I gotta get back to, I can't take this. We were washing clothes by hand, we had no air. You go to the market, you don't walk through the farmer's market, the outdoor market with the cart.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have to haul bags and, the little carts that you have to put dirt in. You pick up your grocery just like that.
A wheelbarrow.
It wasn't,
Wow.
it wasn't America. There was no convenience. You had power outages every night, or some nights you didn't have power. Sometimes you didn't have water. But we managed. But I'm back because mentally I felt like when we go to Haiti, we're going to do what we're supposed to do, because now we're really out of the mix, so we can do whatever we want to do. But you got to be on one accord.
Exactly.
You have one that's saying, hey, I want to go this direction. So I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This is Shabbat. We need to be sitting down. We got an opportunity to do this. So you can't, as a family, you have to have, mentally, you have to be on one accord. And my desire was to, mentally be with the Most High, but mentally I was, like, hey, I can give all this up. And we did give up a lot to move over to Haiti. And, I'm back not because of that drive to, like, I miss this or I miss that, but I feel like now that I'm back, I'm like, man, did I make a mistake? Because I feel like I'm going you know, you still felt like you had to work and hustle and do all that stuff. It was just not the same convenience.
Right.
So I agree that it has to be mental before you leave. But,
Now, you think there's gonna be any convenience if I mean, I could think of something real simple like the bank systems. You can't use your debit card or your credit card. Do you know how inconvenient that's going to be? Because we love the convenience of America. That's what scares me a lot.
I mean,
Because
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there was a lot of convenience here, but I was able to deal with whatever inconvenience there. I'm not back because of the inconvenience.
okay,
I'm back because mentally my husband and I were not on one accord.
Gotcha.
And so
Gotcha.
I'm over here trying to be one way when really it's like we're just trying to run the same rat race that we were running over here. And you can't really do that over there. And
Yeah,
you
not
have to
freely.
be
That's-
mentally,
yeah.
You gotta be in the right mental state, not just spiritually, but, you know,
In every aspect.
every aspect.
And that's what I was saying right now. I mean, right now, Egypt, like if you think about back into like, you know, Exodus and stuff like that, you know, they had to wait a certain. I mean, who was holding Egypt? I mean, who's holding Israelites there? You know, like they wasn't in chains. There was no walls around or fence going on in Egypt. There was no fence going around Egypt where, you know, you go. Like they didn't have slave drivers. So who was holding it there? Because you know, Egypt. I mean, with Egypt, that's all that they had. You know, I mean that's all that they knew, and they that's, you know, like, yeah, that's all. That's pretty much all they knew. So when they left, you know, that's why some of them, even though they was treated in such a way, they still want to go back. I mean, imagine, you know, the Negroes and stuff like that. So you know, you got all these black people and stuff like that here talking, so, oh, let's go back to Africa, black pride, black Africa. But yeah, let them go back to Africa. They went to, how many of them was turn around and ride the exact slave ship that brought them over here? So it'd be like, well, no, this slave ship was not that bad. You know what I'm saying? I like cruises. You know, it's like they'll make everything and stuff like that to say, you know, well, over here was a little bit better. And that's that whole, you know, syndrome, like being attached to the slave master or stuff like that. Or so. Go ahead, Elder.
I want to sort of like keep us in contact. When we were in Egypt, we were forced to stay in Egypt.
Oh, of course.
And when we look at it today, psychologically, we're being forced to stay in America. Okay? So, you know, when we talk on this particular subject, we got to realize that everything that they do for us here, the conveniency is to outshow the other land where we came from. They know where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to outshow that to make you feel to want to stay. But they know that you're staying is a blessing to them. That this land is not going to be constructed where Israel is. The majority of Judah and Benjamin and Levi, well, not all Levi, but are here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they know that. Right? So the system doesn't want to let you go free. So they got to figure out things to keep you relying on their land, this land, to keep you here. To make you fight against that thought. They come and say, hey, let me go home.
well, you know, you have to look at too why they went to Egypt in the first place, because there was a worldwide famine. So when they walked into Egypt, I mean, and that was the only place on earth with food, you could kind of see psychologically that you think that outside of there, this is a horrible world. And it's the same thing that we dealing with here.
Exactly.
It's the same thing we dealing with here. We came here on such sorrow, on such. It was a lot of pain and suffering. So to us, I mean, and that was just coming over here. So it would probably feel like to us that going back would be psychologically would be some pain and stuff. We have to understand that here in America, Like, you can't even talk to brothers really, because sometimes you could say something to a brother, you can maybe even give them a compliment. But some of us are so psychologically destroyed. You say something to somebody and they'll react like, a shark is coming. You know what I mean? And it's like, brother, I just said what's up. Some cities you say what's up, that could get you.
Yeah, what's up there?
So go ahead, sis.
I just wanted to add that I think that very often we look at ourselves as being in bondage, but when you look at the whole picture, everybody here is in bondage.
Everybody.
Nobody is perfectly free. I don't care what color they are, what nation they are from. We're all in bondage to this matrix system, or however you want to put it. We're all in bondage.
Mm-hmm.
We always look at ourselves as being worse off and that we should be here and there. But everybody in America is in bondage, across the world, because of what is being offered and how we're being, how we decide to go after those things.
Well, let me ask you this. So when you keep the commandments, do the curses stay on you, or do they go away?
According to the Bible, they're supposed to go away.
They're supposed to
But
go away.
We don't see that happening.
Right, but that I think Brother Yahweh, and I praise Yah. My man came in today with some stuff dripping. I prayed about that too, brother. I prayed about it, and you came. I love you, man. I love you, brother. So, but yeah, we hold on. I got sidetracked. Can you rephrase that one more time? Because I looked over there and I seen the fringes, and I got so happy because that fringes because they make me feel, sometimes I don't be looking at mine, I'll be looking at other brothers,
Oh, I ain't like the colors of it.
So yeah, so say that one more time, sister. I got
I was
sidetracked.
saying, I was just responding that for the most part we're all in bondage. We like to think
Oh,
that
yeah.
we are the only nation that is in bondage to the things
also-
of this system, this world. But at the end of the day, everybody's in bondage to what's going on around us. And so you mentioned that if you follow the commandments, do the curses come off?
Yeah.
And I responded that no.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're trying whatever we're trying, and the curses are not falling off.
Maybe not for, if you look at on a nation, but some people, and I'm seeing it with certain brothers and sisters, some people are literally, you can see their countenance when you keep the commandments. There should be certain fruits, That's what John told. He said, "You brood of vipers, come back and show fruits of your repentance." Because once you start doing certain things, there's going to be fruits, and there's brothers and sisters out there that they're bearing fruit, but we believe in that right now. We're in captivity and we're in all this bondage, but there are people bearing fruit. So I kind of want to push that away and not always keep myself in a mindset that I'm being cursed, because he told us there was a promise that if you do these things, this will happen. But if you do these things, this will happen. So we have a choice. Like he said, I'm sitting life and death before you today, and like I know you said we're in bondage, but there's a brother that he sometimes sweeps up at this BP station by my house, and when I talk to him, he's homeless, but he don't care about the stuff that we care about, and I see a freedom in him. Yeah. Back in the day, there was a song called Mr. Wendell. I think Arrested Development made that song, and it was talking about this homeless man, and he referred to him as being free. See, even with Yeshua, he told us that. He told that dude, he told that man that, he said, I did all this stuff. I've been keeping the law. But he told him, okay, sell everything you own, give it away to the poor and follow me. And he couldn't do it. And see, what's going to make you free is actually the truth. It's not going to be keep on working and working and working, and then you can somehow get enough of their money, because remember, it's their money to get yourself out of bondage. Because guess what happens? Those Federal Reserve notes, you get enough of them and they find out about it, they can come back with tax evasions and all type of other things that they, racketeering, anything that because they make stuff up as they go. But we got to seriously think about and redefine when we're talking about curses and bondage and captivity. We have to really go in and think about is that actually the situation, or is this something that we creating in our own mindset? Because I'm telling you, there's people out here that and I know people that got money that don't care about it, and they have a freedom as well. That's why I'm saying it's a mindset. You got to come out of this stuff. Like, we think everything is ours. That's mine. That's mine. That's mine. But you're going to, if life doesn't treat you well enough, eventually you're going to die, and all the things of this earth are going to be left behind. So it's a mindset change, in my opinion, to come out of this. I used to listen to certain guys on the YouTube, and then I was like, yeah, I'm cursed. But now, certain things go on. I don't think I'm cursed no more. I really do believe that if you follow this book and start doing this stuff, your countenance should change. Probably a lot of things will change. Your relationships will change. A lot of things will change in your life. Maybe not to the degree that you would like, but
And I wanted to add. We gotta kind of wrap it up a little bit. We can mid-rush a little bit more. But I just wanted to add one thing about in a piece of in the sense of him talking about the mindset of this, and it's how your mindset is. It's how people look at things. Like, what's the most valuable thing to a creature right now? I mean, to anything, to any living organism.
Money.
I say life.
I say life.
Their family.
Right.
I mean, you could okay. I mean, like, you have life. Life is maybe about 40, 50, maybe about 60, 70 years, 80 years, and stuff like that. I mean, all these stuff have in common because you need food to sustain life. You know what I'm saying? But life is just pretty much a measurement of time. So everybody values time. It's like every little organ. And I'm saying this to say, when you look at jobs and stuff like that, I'm telling you, kind of like the slave mentality or way of thinking this, or and a free man who values a little bit more than what I would say money. Okay, well, with the slave mentality and stuff like that, they see I'm making $15 an hour, right? $15, you hear, okay, well, $15 an hour, that's a good job. You got a banging job. I'll take that any day. I'll do whatever it takes to, you got some people, I cut my hair and stuff, and stuff like, for $15 an hour. But then flip it and say, I'm charging $15 per for 1 hour of my life. It sounds a little bit more harsh than that. It doesn't really sound too good and stuff like that. You're saying that, I'm getting paid $15 for 1 hour.
What's the alternative?
The alternative? It's really no alternative. The alternative, right, really is to own your own land and grow your own food, where you ain't working for nobody.
But we need to get that $15 an hour.
Exactly. Well, we need that, and that's the bondage that they actually hold us in. Yeah, that's the bondage that they actually have us in, because we feel that we need to have some money and to do that. And then they was like, well, okay, well, we're gonna pay you the minimum amount, because like that's like saying, like, well, hey, I'll give you $15 if I don't, you do something wild or some kind of crazy stuff, or I give you $15 to England, something like that. You'll turn that down, but then yet you'll dedicate $15, to a company or something like that. You dedicate all that time, and you're doing this day in, day out, day in, day out. They may give you another $2 here, or 3 years down the line, but you're doing it day in, day out for years, and that's you wake up, you're 60 years old, and you probably got like maybe $5,000 or $50,000 in your retirement fund. Yeah, but that's gonna be gone in the next 10 years.
So, okay, so how do you get land here real quick?
I'm not saying that. Right now we're in a situation where we need to go and get money in order to do that. But then we need with the money that we have right now, we need to make it to where we don't need money anymore, or money is coming to us where we can issue it back out. You know what I'm saying? So that means that we can get the land and we can get the stuff and start selling certain products and stuff like that. So when we get the money, we'll be able to sustain what we have or nothing like that. But we'll be self-sufficient. That's the whole idea, is just be self-sufficient.
And that's all Torah was saying.
That's all Torah.
Torah told us that you got to pay your workers the day of. You can't let the sun go down. That is sovereignty right there.
Yeah.
And so, and that's why, like, when you start looking at the scriptures, you got to say that if the Most High was setting us up to be sovereign, then we got to start looking at having our own stuff. And the secret, here's a secret. The secret to making money in America is doing what nobody else wants to do. But we have gotten so far away from that. You know, like during my grandmother's and grandfather's time, I mean, they would garden, and I'm not talking about no big yards. I mean, just the houses that they had in the city.
Right.
They was gardening things, pickling, preserving. You know, I go down in my grandmother's basement and see just jars and jars and jars and you know, a lot of those secrets are gone today. Them people had a survival mechanism that we have lost.
Yeah.
We have lost
We
it
got lazy because
because of convenience.
Mm.
That's what I was saying. When you go into every time I go to Walmart now, I don't see people walking with the buggies. They be in my way driving them little carts.
No, they be on the little Segway things. They be like you can stand up and ride them here.
Yeah, people that I told a sister that I said I saw you walk in here. And you just went in and
And they be happy to hop on to. They be getting
happy,
on to
young too. I'm like, I
Davidson.
know you about 20 something, driving around on the buggy.
Yeah, pull these shirts. But yeah, I mean, go ahead. We gotta kind
You
of
want to say something?
yeah. Go ahead. I know you had something. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Obaye. It's just
It was something dealing with where if the other nations can get together, then we couldn't get together. I mean, that's one of the big problems.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Convenience. So
But-
if we were to connect together, I seen this other guy, he was back to I was going to the store, and he was standing outside with the dude. So I walked in the store, I was looking for the cashier or whatever. The dude that was sitting outside, he had dreads or whatever, he walked in the store, so apparently, you know, he working for the store, or, you know, I looked shocked, because I could tell that he owned the store or whatnot. But at the same time, somebody wouldn't recognize that or whatever, because I mean, you know, it's us here, right? It falls big, they can stay in a small bedroom with a small kitchen and stuff, about 6 people in there, but I mean, I'm not saying you have to then cater to that. I mean, like the sister was saying, like moving down there and losing all the stuff or whatnot, and just living regularly or whatnot. I mean, she may not attach to that, because I mean, I lived that life, but I didn't want to attach to that either. So not attaching to something like that, I mean, you want to like build stuff and put stuff in certain situations where, I mean, you build the convenience down there for yourself and enjoy it. You can't, okay, let's say if you can't get on with, okay, so like your bike is broken, but the chain is broken in itself. You got to fix the chain in order to get somewhere. You can't go nowhere if you ain't got the chain fixed.
Yeah.
So where you going without the chain fixed? You just rolling down, cruising down there. I mean, of course it's gonna feel dog slow going down the hill. No chain, you ain't got no chain. So therefore, that's the same thing when you're dealing with in this situation with us. I mean, connecting us together is the first part of doing something. So before we even talk about going money, this and that, I mean, one
See, I told-
carry itself.
I see my grandmother before she died. I used to watch her and my her neighbor was Rose. They always was handing stuff to each other over the fence, and you know, talking every day. I mean, I went got in the car. Here, Miss Rose. Here, I got these tomatoes for you. Miss Rose would say, "Here, Miss Berry, I got I got this cornbread over here, or whatever." I mean, we have lost the sense of community. So we don't even love one another. That's the problem right there. We could get that back, but it has to be a mindset. Some of us gonna have to humble ourselves down, because America's given us a lot of pride.
A whole lot of pride, and topped it with the ego.
You topped it with an ego, but then you don't have no ability to go with it.
No.
Pride comes before what?
The fall.
Proud of what? Proud of what?
They be proud and have
proud whatever they got. You know, proud for that cube of sugar that they get. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I remember being in the military. And they brainwashed us so good that to the point where we was fiending for Gatorade. Like literally fiending, like 2 weeks in, like they deprived us so much of Gatorade and made us drink water and stuff like that. And then they was like, well, your reward is Gatorade. So next thing you know, people are snitching on other people and some soldiers and telling on them and saying, well, they ain't doing this, or they said, or they plotting and stuff just to get Gatorade. Little bottles of Gatorade this big, like, and you just have to imagine, like, people just putting little values on stuff and we're willing to do whatever it takes just to get, just to get it. Yeah, exactly. And it all comes because they you give them treats and stuff like that, and that'll boost up their head, or just make them feel good about themselves or something like that, and that'll just give them just enough just to say, okay, well, I'm comfortable where I'm at. That's all people want is comfortability.
I just want to say one thing. Just think about it. When Moses, when he left Egypt the first time, he was so used to that stuff that was going on when he was a taskmaster over his own people. The Most High had to take him through that wilderness and strip everything that he learned. Everything. So when we leave this country, we might not notice what vices that attach to us. We start to become more adapted to it. So when we go to the other land, we can't even do the natural things that God gave us, the Most High gave us, because we gave us the natural thing to till the land, natural things to build a house. We've been building stuff even since the pyramids without even going to school. But we got so adapted to school over here, we think we can't go to Haiti, Kuwait, Israel, Saudi Arabia, or any other country, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and you see that once you do go over there, because I've been to Puerto Rico and Mexico, and I see how the Mexicans and the Puerto Ricans, they build stuff from the ground. They make their houses. Even when we was in Israel, we lived in tents. So if we got so adapted to living in the houses, paying mortgage and all that over here, that when we go back, we forget that we could take twigs and put them together, same way we twine up the zizits and make a house, a boat to get in the water to get food. So when we go over there, we forget the natural things because we're out of structure. We're out of the way the Most High made us, because he made us with the arithmetic. He made us with the astrology. He made us with the skill to build, masons. He made us with the power to grow things with our hand. That's why it says a virtuous woman, she was like a merchant because she was able to do nothing. But the women today the men and women today aren't even in their natural state of mind. Like you said, the mindset is whatever. So if it's a physical, mental thing to leave America, we got to do it mentally here for the unity. We can't unite each other unless we get together on the same accord mentally. Then the physical gonna follow, as he said. Because once the mind says, I'm going up out of Babylon, the body's gonna say, I'm going with it. And that's what we got to do.
Exactly.
Hallelujah.
Ms. Mariel has one more. That's the last one.
Okay, this is the last thing I want to leave y'all with, because when the brother said we're supposed to be bearing fruit, I can say that as a Christian, and I'm gonna go back there.
Ooh.
I am going to go back there because as a Christian, I did bear fruit. I saw a complete change in my life. My friend told me, I saw, when you look at people and you say, I used to play
cult.
They said, "Oh, Maria, you not dancing with us tonight?" No, I'm down with JC. What? I saw a change in my life. I saw a change. I mean, I literally dropped things out of my life, and I was detaching from the things of the world as I began to continue with the Most High. I learned how to forgive. I learned how to love. Like people say, "Oh, you're mad." I mean, I don't need to be mad, about so and so, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, I saw the fruit, and it was through getting in the Word and following what I thought was what I was supposed to follow.
But you're still in the same path. I mean, it's still in the same path
but
as well.
It's different. Now I'm confused. Okay, I'm coming to this Hebrew lifestyle, and I am confused because I could walk down the street any time of the day, have no fear. I mean, I'm walking down crazy, but I'm walking down the street laying hands on people I don't know, telling them about the scriptures. As a Hebrew, it's like, wow, I don't know really what am I supposed to be telling people.
Yeah.
That we are the chosen and you ain't.
No.
What is the message that we're supposed to give? So now I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know. How do you begin to minister? I'm not saying
We can mid-rash about that. Yeah.
I'm saying that when you say you stay in the law, because every time I come it's something different. There's some confusion. There's different. Oh no, you got to cover this. No, you can't wear this. It's always something different.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I believe
it's just more confusion. And to me, it's like, Maria, what do you want to do?
Yeah, you have to go and deal with the scriptures on your own. A lot of people want somebody to dictate it for them, but you can't really get a proper understanding if you just come on Shabbat and let us do it. You know what I mean?
No, I agree, because
you have to go
through. And so that's what I'm doing now. But it's still, then there's a lot of missing Bibles, missing books. So you don't have the whole story. So how do you know you even have the story? Right. Then you got words that are misinterpreted and all this stuff that's kind of adding up. Yes, I agree. You have to seek the word out. But it's like you definitely, like the brother said, how do we all begin to connect on one accord so that we can all kind of, there has to be, if you say there's a law, there has to be something that we all can follow. And
the only time Israel gonna get on one accord is when danger comes. That's the only time. I don't even think they was probably all on one accord when they left Egypt. But because the situation was so dire, they had to get on an accord. It was that dire. And you can see it right now amongst all the camps. We just ain't nothing happening right now. So you don't feel the need to have to be accountable for your brother or sister.
Yeah, I have the need only because I have 3 boys that I'm accountable for. And it's like, okay, I got to teach them something. As a Christian, they would have been all set.
It's easier.
Yeah, but you, what God are you dealing with? Because Satan gives gifts too. So we have to understand that there's more than one mighty one out here, and a lot of Christians are bearing fruit, but it don't mean it's coming from y'all.
I have discontinued following the Most High. That's one thing I will say. I have not stopped serving the Most High since I have come into this lifestyle.
I see it because I see our lives anyway as us following the stories of Torah anyway. Like you go through a sense. I mean, you go through a state of whether you're coming out of Babylon, like the Israelites were, or you coming out of Egypt, like they were, or you coming out of Sodom, like Lot was. But the whole idea is like when you get into this wilderness, are you prepared for the wilderness? The wilderness gonna throw whatever it wants to at you. You're not completely coming out of confusion and stuff like that, because like even now. Like what you were saying about you being Christian. Can you go back being Christian? Like, can you actually accept what Christians are teaching right now as far as theology?
Yeah, because there's a principle. There's a principle. Right.
Exactly,
different. There's a principle, and if you follow that principle,
you are considered a Christian. It's the exact same thing. I see it's the exact same thing as being for Israelites. In the sense of you follow, the statutes, commandments, and ordinance and stuff like that, then you're considered a Hebrew. or in that sense. I mean, remember, like in Leviticus, it says there's one law. There's one law for the foreigner and for the native, and then the native follows this law. I mean, yeah, the foreigner follows law. He should be treated as a native born. So you know, it all comes down to are you following these statutes and commandments given by the Most High of the God of Israel?
Well,
I mean,
she's asking, how do you tell the next person that?
how do you tell the next person? I mean,
It's like this. As a Christian, I said this the other day. I got a son who's about to be 18 years old.
Mhm.
Now, as a Christian, I would have said, okay, son, I've taught you everything you need to know, and you know exactly how to go to the Most High. You need blah, blah, blah. Go for it. You have your way, you got your mind, you go yourself. As a Hebrew, I'm thinking that you can't you can't go out there. You got to stay at home and till whatever. I don't know the path forward, but I don't think it's the same path when you just release
y'all come in
them.
and out, yeah.
So it's like that's the kind of stuff that I am, like dealing with. Is I know how to teach them what I know, but I don't know how to teach them what I really don't know. And then they see stuff themselves, so they can look at the Hebrew. They can look at all of what's going on and see that what's really happening here, and they can determine for themselves that something is not lining up. So.
Right, absolutely.
Let me say this, let me answer the question this way. What we learned about Christianity, all but the part where we were making...
All but the what?
All but the part
Part?
where we were making Yahshua God. All the principles and spiritual teaching was what Israel did. When we began to understand what Paul is talking about, what Matthews is talking about. When we begin to understand what they were talking about was love and relationship to one another, the hospitality of Abraham. All these principles were what Israel did in those days. So when you look at what we say today is Christianity, right, really it was the culture of Israel, all but the part.
All
right?
but the what?
All but the part of making Yahshua,
Oh, the part. Okay.
right,
A
in
deity.
place of God.
Uh-huh.
But all the tenets that is associated around it,
Right.
the love, the respect, the rearing of your children, teaching your children spirituality, all that Christians did was our culture
Okay, I agree with that.
before we let it get divided, because now it's being handed back to us.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see the love our grandmothers had for each other,
Mhm.
and they didn't know anything about, well, I'm a Hebrew. They
It
knew
was in their DNA.
how to be lovable.
Right.
They knew how to be respectful of one another. They knew how to be spiritually in tone with one another. So that culture, see, people get lost because the culture, all we're doing now is identifying that we were supposed to be even closer to the Most High than those who walked that didn't know.
Right. Okay.
But now we had the zeal of Yahweh, but not according to knowledge. Now we're coming to know the knowledge.
Mhm.
We shouldn't let the part that, like you said, you
Right,
came
and
in.
that is the problem, because when you come over here, they say, oh, that's all a lie. That you can't do that anymore. That you gotta throw out. And so when you're trying to throw that out and you get going with the knowledge, you're left with what?
That's false teaching. Anybody that tells you that, that's false teaching.
Exactly.
So that's